I want a sticker. That's all I want is a sticker and maybe a park map. Very odd. This is the first time I've ever gone to a state park where they weren't open. Welcome to Port Royal Historic Park, located just northeast of Clarksville, Tennessee, which is northwest of Nashville. Kentucky is just a few miles that way, so it's really on the northern border. And yeah, I'm excited to show you around the park today. Full disclosure, a very weird experience, and this video is probably going to be pretty different from any of the other park reviews that you have seen thus far and will see. Part of that is because the park is it's open, but there's nobody here. There's no one working at the Welcome Center. There's no park ranger nearby. In fact, the Welcome Center is closed. It was locked. The lights were off. Some of the gates were open, some were closed. I had to kind of park my truck on the street to get over to here. So very odd experience for sure. But there's still some cool stuff to see here in the park. It is rich with local history from the tobacco trade that took place in this area and transportation down flatboats down the Red River, which is the river behind me. Also to my left is the Trail of Tears, so some cool Native American history. I am here in February and it is overcast and it is foggy and it is freezing. But I've got the joy of Jesus in my heart, as the little kids would sing. And so I'm warm on the inside at least, and I'm not gonna let that affect my review. There's still some cool nature stuff to see as well. So I'll show you around the park today, show you everything there is to do, and I'll give it a score and let you know if it's good for you and your family to visit. God bless you and enjoy today's review. We're going to begin today's review as we do each week, and that is with natural beauty and wildlife. Now, right through the center of the park is the Red River, and it includes a lot of trees and estuaries around it which feed into the river, and so you'll find some quiet spots, hopefully, to hear the running water feed itself into the Red River. Additionally, even in the middle of winter, you'll be able to find some greenery to look at, and so for natural beauty, it gets a 5 out of 10. Next is activities, and this category is worth 20 points. So there's plenty of hiking to be had. There's also a lot of educational exhibits throughout the park that tell you about the history of the area and the river and the port that was there. This is a shot of the general store that has been remodeled to look like it did back in the day, but sadly that was closed. Now, the main part of the park, right off the main road, has all of your normal day activity features like your picnic tables and your restrooms and stuff like that. There's hiking throughout the park. There's also little fire pits and pergolas and stuff. And then right there on the Red River, there's a few activities as well, like fishing. So for activities, it gets an 8 out of 20. Now, when I came, the bathrooms were, I think, being renovated. Outside, they had some construction stuff going on, but on the inside of the restrooms, they were still very dated, but they were functional, so bathrooms get a 3 out of 10. The park is located just a few miles south of the Kentucky border, makes it a little hard to get to, and it gets a 4 out of 10 for drivability. Okay, I showed up about maybe an hour ago and came here to the office, museum, and general store, and no one was here. So I went on the other side of the road to the main part of the park and hiked around and took some videos and pictures and stuff. Come back, there's still nobody here, which I think is very weird. Not only that, I called their number 3 times and no one has answered. So, the person waved at me, that was friendly. Help! I want a sticker! That's all I want is a sticker and maybe a park map. Very odd. This is the first time I've ever gone to a state park where they weren't open, and it's 10:30 in the morning. And I drove 3.5 hours to get here, so yeah, that's kind of a disappointment if I'm being honest. So There's one other part of the park that way. I got to drive to a different parking lot. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to try one more time to call them and see if I can get someone over here to let me in. The park ranger's truck is over here and the gates are open, so I know someone has been here today, but yeah, kind of a disappointment, not gonna lie. The park hosts Rivian EV charging stations, which is always great, and Clarksville is literally just a couple minutes up the road, which should have everything you should possibly need, so nearby amenities gets a 7 out of 10. Alright, so some final thoughts on Port Royal. It's a very small park. You can pretty much experience the whole thing in less than an hour for sure. You probably have a park in your city or town that's much bigger than this one. There's a couple of hiking trails which are less than a quarter mile each. There is a river that you can fish at, which is cool, and there are some pretty trees around as well. And if you're into history, there's plenty of learning exhibits and stuff around the park to learn about the history of the area. I think it'd be a great place to come to if you want to just relax for an hour, maybe grab a sandwich or something in town in Clarksville, and then come here just to relax and be in nature a little bit and hear the water moving, or hear 18-wheelers coming down the road that's right in the middle of the park. Man, not gonna lie, kind of disappointed. I didn't do much research on the park before I came here, so I can't blame myself too much, but I was expecting more for a state park. I would imagine people here in Clarksville, they probably come here all the time, and school field trips probably come here as well. But yeah, not worth the drive. If you don't live within 20 or 30 minutes, I would not recommend coming here unless you just want to go to all the parks. So I hope I'm not too harsh in this review, but it's really hard to review a park when there's nobody here. This park may be less than a year old, and they really have a lot of projects that they're going to be adding and staff and things like that, and I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I just don't know. I don't know anything about the park because there's no one here. So yeah, there you go. There you have it. Some of the features include the Red River and some old bridges, so it gets a 4 out of 10 for uniqueness. Next is cost, and being a day park, it is 100% free, so it gets a perfect 10 out of 10 score for cost. You put all the scores together and you aggregate it, and you get a score of 53 out of 100. Okay, I have seen the entire park. It took less than an hour, and that's with me doing some videography and some photography while I'm here. Interesting place, to say the least. Let me rephrase that. Interesting experience, to say the least. This is a day park, so there's no camping, and really the whole thing can be explored in next to no time. But if you live here in Clarksville or around this area, I would say within 20 or 30 minutes, worth coming and having a little picnic with your family and enjoying a little bit of nature. So yeah, interesting park. Hope you enjoyed today's review.